In tonight's episode, we are getting our first look at Charlie Hunnam as the serial killer Ed Gein. We are also finally getting some information on Sci-Fi horror series from season 4, but it is going to be a while before we even see that come to fruition. And finally, the success continues for the Terrifier franchise as we start to get our first full look trailer at the upcoming Art video game, ARTcade. So let's get into it. So we are getting our first looks at Charlie Hunnam as Ed Gein, and if you don't know who Ed Gein is and you are on this channel, I am a bit surprised. So we're just going to give a quick rundown before we get into these details. Again, if you don't know who Ed Gein is a known serial killer. He has a few nicknames, known as the Butcher of Plainfield, the Plainfield Ghoul, but is a serial killer nonetheless that had his reign around the mid to late 50s, was eventually obviously caught in the mid to late 60s, and died in 84 around his late 70s. I believe he died from lung cancer, but again, Ed Gein went on to inspire much of the villains that we know within the horror culture, the horror genre. And again, if you don't know who some of those inspirations were, some of those inspirations gave us the likes of Norman Bates from Psycho, definitely Leatherface from the Texas Chainsaw Massacre, Buffalo Bill from Silence of the Lamb, and hard to believe though, Garland Green from Con Air were just some of the few movie characters that took inspiration from this real life serial killer. More so though, Leatherface from Texas Chainsaw Massacre, because some of the things that they had found in Ed Gein's home once he was finally caught and arrested definitely line up more with Leatherface. Things of like human skulls, female skulls. He had taken skulls and made them into bowls. He had made various things out of human skin. So and if you've seen any of the Texas Chainsaw Massacre films, whether it's the originals and those sequels or any of the remakes, if you match up those stories and films to the real life Ed Gein character, you will see a much bigger similarity there versus the ones I just previously mentioned. So, but again, we have our first look at Charlie Hunnam, so let's get into the details here. As we see, the 10-episode series Dahmer Monster, the Jeffrey Dahmer story, was such a huge success for Netflix streaming service back in 2022 that Netflix ordered 2 more seasons of the show from its creators, Ian Brennan and American Horror Story co-creator Ryan Murphy. Monsters, the Lyle and Eric Menendez story, was recently released and has had quite an impact on the real lives of the title characters. And if you don't know, both of those brothers are currently still in prison within California. And right before the seasons premiered in September, it was announced that Sons of Anarchy Charlie Hunnam had signed on to play murderer and grave robber Ed Gein in Monsters Season 3. As it turns out, Monsters Season 3, which apparently is called The Original Monster, was very closely starting production when the announcement was made, because Hunnam has now been spotted on set of the show in his Gein wardrobe. So let's just jump right to that. Let's zoom out a little bit here. So you can see, and if we had a picture of Ed Gein, the real life individual, it's pretty close. I mean, it's pretty spot on, but it's hard to believe when you look at, if we scroll back up here and look at Charlie for really what many people know him for. I mean, he's been in many other things, but again, what he's primarily known for, especially here in the U.S., is his role as Jax Teller in Sons of Anarchy. So when you see him here, and we scroll down and see him here, just a completely different look for him. Obviously, the hair has been completely changed. Can't really tell. He might have some prosthetics on his face again to give him that look. It looks like he might have some around his nose and his eyes, but interested in seeing how this season turns out again, because this real life individual, his reign of terror was eventually ended. He was caught. arrested. Initially, he was deemed insane and would not stand trial, but then that was eventually overturned. He was found competent to stand trial and was found guilty of his crimes, and then spent the rest of his life in prison prior to dying. So, again, no date yet on when we can expect to see season 3, but here we have a few more pictures. Again, keeping in mind this took place in the mid-late 50s into the 60s, so the look that Charlie has here fits, especially the clothing he has, the haircut, so rightfully so, going to be a period piece. Oh, here we go. We do have, so here's a picture. This is Ed Gein right here, one of the last pictures of him. So you can see there, they got the look almost pretty close. I think Charlie was a good casting for us, and it looks like we're getting this in 2025. So I wish when we get things like this, we had a little bit more than just it's coming out in 2025. I would like to see, are we getting that, early in the year, summertime, fall, something to give us a little bit more information to pinpoint when we can expect to see this next season. But nonetheless, we are getting it and excited to see Charlie in more things, especially a role like this. It's going to test his range and see what he can do. So, all right, on to our next topic, Sci-Fi horror series from renewed for season 4 at MGM Plus. So it has been a minute since we have gotten any news on this. So if you haven't seen From, I would highly recommend checking it out. It is worth a watch. It's not for everybody, but again, as I've said here on the show, and I will continue to say when it comes to any TV shows or movies, give it a try for yourself. Don't listen to critics. Don't listen to other reviewers, commentators. Go check it out for yourself, form your own opinion, and walk away from it either loving it, liking it, or hey, it's just not for me. So MGM Plus is doubling down on its hit sci-fi horror series From, announcing today the show has been renewed for a 4th season. The 10-episode season is set to begin production in Nova Scotia in 2025 and will then premiere in 2026. So let's pause there. That's the thing. So obviously, season 3 has been over for quite some time. We've gone through 2024. This won't start production until next year, and now then we won't get it until sometime 2026. When we have such large gaps, the one thing I've mentioned before with various TV series, even some movie series, is when you have these large gaps in between the actors and actresses obviously age. We all age. However, it does, some people age more so than others, and it does show, unfortunately. Then some actors and actresses do other projects and then aren't available. So hopefully we'll get the most of the returning cast coming back to play their roles. And my only other concern with this is do you risk losing your fan base? Do you risk losing interest in the show from your fans that have stuck around for the first 3 seasons, and then again you have such a big gap? Do you lose that momentum that you had established thus far? If you're, obviously that's not a concern, because otherwise they'd be fast tracking this, and maybe they have enough confidence in this 10-episode story that those who enjoyed the show for the first 3 seasons are going to come back and want to see what's going on with that 4th season. So more to come on this one. We do have a quote down here. From has been a sensation for MGM Plus, capturing the attention of millions of viewers and helping us to shine a bright light on our MGM Plus brand. Our talented show creators and cast have brilliantly and carefully crafted this wonderful show, and we look forward to providing the answers the From audience so enthusiastically craves in season 4. Looking forward to this one. Can't wait to see it. It's been a long time coming. If we scroll all the way down here, you can see release date of February 20th, 2022. So more to come on this one. Again, looking forward to it. Just wish we were getting it a bit sooner. So we will keep a track on this one. If anything changes, we will let everyone know. All right, so moving into our final topic, the success of Terrifier continues. Terrifier 3 came out in October. I believe the final number was a little bit over $80 million box office on a $2 million investment. They didn't sell out to the big studios. They kept it to themselves. They put out the film that they wanted, and it was a success. We've seen so many things come from this, whether it's been merchandise, whether it's been ringing the bell on the stock exchange, having Art the Clown there and a couple of the other creators and those involved with the recent film there to partake in that event. And now here we are. We knew this was coming. There was rumor and some screen images that this would be coming. So Terrifier, the ARTcade game, unleashes bloody new gameplay trailer, and we have that down here. So here's just a screen grab of what it looks like here as far as the game. So it has that old school left to right vibe to it. One of the games that comes to mind is like Double Dragon. Right, if you were around long enough to have played Double Dragon back on the old NES, you'll know what I'm talking about when it has that left to right motion. Going down here, if you were itching to see more of Art the Clown in action with Revlo and publisher selected plays upcoming Terrifier, the ARTcade game, you got your wish. Revlo has released a brand new gameplay trailer at the Mix Showcase, offering a brutal preview of Terrifier, the ARTcade game, ahead of its 2025 launch on Steam, Nintendo Switch, PlayStation 5, and Xbox Series. So let's jump. So we have just a few, other things here to just talks about the game, but let's just jump right to the trailer itself.
Rated RP2M.
So there you have it, the ARTcade game for Terrifier. What do you all think? Again, as you saw, it has that retro look to it, that left to right, and as you may have noticed in the bottom, it said this is actual gameplay, but the final product may not look exactly like this, which that goes for any video game. That's always a standard notice that they tell you about. So let us know what you think. If you'll be getting this, if you're a Terrifier fan and plan on playing this, it's what I would expect for the game itself. It looks very simple. I am wondering though, when you think about video games like this, what's the final boss? Who is Art the Clown supposed to face off at the end of the game, or is it pretty much just level after level like this? So we will see. We will expect to get this sometime next year across the various platforms. So more to come when this gets released. All right, everyone, that's going to do it for tonight's episode. Thank you for giving me just a few moments of your time. I hope you all have a great evening, and we will see you at the next one. Peace.